Where does positive psychology come from? Positive psychology is a science that investigates what it is that makes people and communities thrive. Just imagine that this here is a spectrum from not flourishing all the way to fully flourishing. Up to about the end of the last century, psychology has been focusing on this non-flourishing part of the axis, where we find depression, anxiety and all sorts of other psychological disorders. Until then, psychology has been focusing on helping people away from suffering towards normality. Now, positive psychology focuses on the flourishing part of the spectrum and focuses on helping people and communities from here to full flourishing. Positive psychology was officially founded around the turn of the century, but its roots date from much earlier in history. The term positive psychology was already used by Abraham Maslow in the 1950s, and the concept of flourishing as the main subject of positive psychology actually dates back all the way to the ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle. Aristotle discerned two kinds of well-being, hedonic and eudaimonic well-being. Hedonic well-being is well-being based on enjoyment and is generally more short-term. Enjoying a tasty apple is an example of hedonic well-being. Eudaimonic well-being, on the other hand, is generally more long-term. An extreme example of eudaimonic well-being is Christian Gellert's quote, "Live the way you will like to have lived the moment you die." Martin Seligman originally discerned three kinds of well-being in his authentic happiness model: the pleasant life, the engaged life, and the meaningful life. The pleasant life is a life of enjoyment and corresponds to Aristotle's hedonic well-being. Secondly, the engaged life is based upon the research on flow by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Flow is what you experience when you're fully engaged in an activity. Typical for flow is, for instance, that afterwards you feel as if the time has passed without noticing. This is the source of the idea of engaged life. And thirdly, the meaningful life largely corresponds to Aristotle's eudaimonic well-being. Now, Christopher Peterson, another important grandfather of positive psychology, used to summarize his decades of positive psychology research in three words: other people matter. Time and again, positive psychology research, including my own research, has consistently shown that other people are crucial for our well-being. Therefore, as science progressed, Martin Seligman came up with a new model that includes relationships, the so-called PERMA model. In PERMA, P stands for positive emotion, Aristotle hedonic well-being. E stands for engagement, based on Csikszentmihalyi's concept of flow. R stands for relationships, as in Peterson's work. M stands for meaning, largely corresponding to Aristotle's eudaimonic well-being, and A stands for accomplishment. So even the newest positive psychology models can be traced all the way back to the ancient Greek philosophy of Aristotle.